Hello, my name is Matt Shefcik and I'm a trumpet teaching artist with Miami Music Project. And I am here today to show you some general things you can do to improve on the trumpet, to build up your air capacity for playing with a good sound, to build up your range, to build up your endurance, and just to help you get better at the trumpet. Okay, so remember when we play trumpet, what we're really doing is we are moving air. We are blowing air and vibrating our lips. So it's really important that we take a good breath, because if we don't take a good breath when we play, well, we're not going to make a good sound. And we're going to have to work really hard to overcome that. So let's do a couple exercises to help you with your breathing. So remember, it's important when you breathe on a brass instrument that you think of a nice open syllable when you breathe in. So I like to use either O or up, like that. So you want a syllable that is nice and open and fills you up down low, so you can take a nice low deep breath. In fact, I tell some of my students that they should think like they're Darth Vader from Star Wars. How does he breathe? So think like you're filling up down low with a nice O, a nice low syllable. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a breathing exercise where we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, and then we're going to breathe out for 4 counts. Now when we do that, we're going to take our hand, make like a shark fin, put it up in front of our face so that when we breathe in, we can hear the air go past our hand. Like that. And then when we breathe out, we're going to turn our hand so that the air hits our hand and we can feel it. So we're going to breathe in for 4, out for 4. Okay, so I'll count us off. Do this with me. 1, 2, ready, in. Out. Again. Out. Good. So if you notice when I was doing that, my shoulders weren't going up. I wasn't rising up when I was doing it because I'm filling up down low. So make sure that there's not extra movement when you're breathing in, that you're not rising up when you breathe in, because that creates tension. And if we have tension, it's harder to make a good sound on the trumpet. Okay. Well, let's try it again. We're going to do it on 4, and then I'll call out other numbers. Okay? So when I call out a number, you'll breathe in for that amount and breathe out for that same amount. Here we go for 4. 1, 2, ready, go. Out. Now do 3. Out. Do 2. Now do 1. Now do a big sigh. So if you do a little bit of simple practicing like that with your breathing, you'll get better at taking deep breaths when you play the instrument. And if you take a deep, full breath, move your air in, and then move it out right away, you'll make a big sound, and it won't take as much work. Okay? So always think about making that O or up syllable when you breathe in. Now, the next step of making sure that we're making a good sound on our instrument is to make sure that we're buzzing right. Remember when we buzz, our lips are close together, almost touching, both right up against each other, not too tight, and our corners are firm. And we make this sort of sound when we buzz. Now, of course, we don't just buzz without that. That's called freebuzzing when you don't have an instrument. Instead, we're going to take our mouthpiece. So what I want you to do, make sure your hands are clean anytime you're handling your mouthpiece, just because it's going up against your lips. You take your mouthpiece, and I want you to hold it near the end of the stem, okay? Don't hold it like this or on the edge or 2 hands. Don't do that. Hold it near the end, because when you put it in the instrument kind of holds it that same way, okay? So if you hold it near the end, you're going to have better balance, and it's going to mimic the way it feels when it's in the instrument. So remember, it's good to take a good breath when we play, even when we're just buzzing the mouthpiece. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to buzz into the mouthpiece. So I'll buzz something, and I want you to buzz it back. Okay? I'll go first, and then I'll point when it's your turn. So, if buzzing is something you haven't done a lot of, it might feel strange at first. But I really want you to do it every time you get ready to play your instrument, because buzzing really sets you up for making a good sound on the instrument, because it's making sure you're doing everything right with your air and your buzzing and your sound before you even play. Okay, so if you can do it right here, you can make a big sound on your instrument. Okay, so let's try it again. Make sure when you're blowing, the air continues all the way to the end. So we're not stopping our air for each note. It's all the way to the end. Okay? So let's do it together. 1, 2, ready. Okay. So now let's do it the opposite way. I'll go first and then you do it. So we're going to start on the same note and go up. Now you do that. 1, 2, ready, breathe. Okay, and now let's do it together. Make sure that air continues all the way. As we go up, our corners stay firm and we just blow faster air. Higher notes are farther in front of us. They're not higher, they're not above us. They're faster air to reach them. Okay? Picture like you have a candle that's 10 feet away from you. How are you going to blow it out? That's how you blow for higher notes. Okay? 1, 2, ready? Good. So, I want you to do a little bit of buzzing each day. A little bit of buzzing goes a long way when you're practicing on the instrument. Okay? Even if you can't play your instrument, if you can buzz, that'll be some good practice that can help you out. And then when you do play the instrument, you'll be better off. Okay. Now, another thing you can do on mouthpiece, because the mouthpiece kind of lets us play whatever we want. We don't have to worry about valves. We don't have to worry about slides or water filling up, anything like that. So we can play almost anything we want. So it's really good to help your ear to play something that you know and see if you can get it to sound good on the mouthpiece. Something like... It doesn't have to be something hard or something that's very challenging, because it's all the more important that you can actually hear and make sure you're playing the right notes. Because you know if you're playing something like Mary Had a Little Lamb, you know if you play a wrong note, because it's not going to sound like Mary Had a Little Lamb. Or you can do Happy Birthday. Like that. So why don't we try Happy Birthday together? Okay? I'll say 1, 2, and then we'll play together. Ready? Breathe on 2. 1, 2. Great. Now, the more you practice mouthpiece, the easier it will get. Remember, if you ever have it where the sound isn't coming out, it means your lips aren't close enough or you're not using enough air. Now, if you feel like you're using enough air but the sound still isn't coming, then you just might have your lips too close together. Make sure that you're able to just be nice and relaxed, keep those corners firm, and you can go... Okay? The more mouthpiece work you do, the better you'll be off on the instrument. Now, it's time to actually play our instrument. So, I'm going to show you some long tones that you should practice. So I have this up here. Now, I don't have any particular written note there, but what we're going to do is we're going to start on low C. I'm going to start pretty soft, and then we're going to do a little bit of a crescendo, and then a decrescendo. So there's a little bit of a swell in the middle, and then we'll rest. So we're going to start on a low C. I'll do it once, and then I'll do it, and you can do it along with me. Okay? So here's low C. Here's how it's going to work. Then I rest for those 4 measures. So it's pretty straightforward. The key is when we crescendo, we want our sound to kind of like just grow this way. We don't want to push into the sound. So we want our sound to expand, kind of like a balloon. And then as we get softer, it gets more focused, but it doesn't like shrink. Okay? So let's do it on low C, and then we're going to go down chromatically. So I have the valve combinations you're going to do. You're going to do it open, then after our rest, we'll do it second, then we'll do it first, then 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. I'll get you started by doing the first couple. If you want to do more, you can continue and do all those combinations. Here we go. Let's do C together. 1, 2, ready, go. We're resting, and now we're going to do B. Ready, go. And then you rest, and then you would go on to doing B flat, which is 1, and then A, which is 1 and 2, and then A flat, 2 and 3, G, 1 and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you can try those. And the key to do this is to keep the sound going, not to push when you play louder. Now, if you practice this, you get really good control of your sound because you'll be able to control when you go from loud to soft or when you're trying to play with a really big fat sound down low. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a little bit of a flow warm-up, a little bit of a flow study. So I have a little bit of a space in here because I'm going to add notes as we go on. But this is a really good study that helps you move your air and get your sound going. So as we play this, we start on a G. Now, what I want us to do is imagine like we're blowing a G the whole time, like this. But we're going to move our valves as we play through these notes. Okay? Now I just have quarter notes written up there. We just play it kind of slow. So I'll demonstrate how I want it played. You can just rest on that long note, just sit there for a little bit on the last note. So let's try that together. The idea is to flow your air. Feel like you're not moving it up and down for each note, but you're just going straight through. Let's try that. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Now, if that felt pretty easy, or if you want a little bit more of a challenge, we can add another note. Let's add the note C. And I'm going to write an A down here because we're going to go back and hit that note on the way down. So now we're going to play all these notes and we're going to go up to C. So let's do that. Okay? So let's play all the notes that are here. 1, 2, ready? So make sure when we go up to the higher note, we're still just thinking faster air and keeping our air moving and flowing forward. Let's go a little bit higher. Add a D now. I'm going to put a C there. So we're going up one more note. Here we go. We're going up to D now. 1, 2, ready? Now, if that's too much for you, you can stop right there. But if you want more of a challenge, let's go up to E. Now, we're not going to play the D on the way down, so let's try it with going up to E now. We're going to have to keep our air moving when we go from E to C so it's nice and smooth. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. keep going. We'll try one more. We're going to go up to F and back to E. Okay, so let's try that together. 1, 2, keep in mind, sorry, I want to be sure we know, this is an F sharp down here. We're going to play an F natural up here. So first, 1, 2, ready? So, if that was way too easy for you, congrats. You can go even higher. You can go to a G or an A. If that's still a little challenging for you, keep practicing this and eventually you'll get it. Okay? So, long tones and this flow warm-up are a great way to get started and warmed up when you first start playing. If you do this before you do anything else, you're going to set yourself up to be making a good sound and moving around the instrument very easily. Now, I'm going to skip over here and do something else. Now, many of you know B-flat concert scales. Many of you have done the E-flat concert scale. But scales are really important because they help us make sure we have a good sound on every note that we're playing, so that the note E doesn't sound any better or worse than the C up here, or so that high F doesn't sound any better or worse than low F. It's all about keeping it exactly the same sound-wise. So, we're going to play these slurred. We're going to go up and we're going to go back down. So just like we did with our flow studies, let's keep them nice and easy. So what we're doing here is we're doing this to help our warm-up to get moved around the instrument, but also to make sure that our sound is focusing in on every note. Here we go. We're going to play B-flat concert. We'll play it in half notes, slurred, going up. 1, 2, ready? So, as you play that, make sure that it's nice and smooth, no note sticks out. If you need to take a breath, take a breath. Okay, just make sure each note gets its full value. Now that we've played it with a slurred and a good sound, let's practice it with tonguing. We're going to do it with marcato tonguing, which is ta or tu. We're going to do it in quarter notes. So I want you to go ta, 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 ta. So we're going to play it like this. Let's do it together, up and down. Every time we say ta, it's exactly the same way. We don't go ta, tia, to, it's ta, ta. Here we go. 1, 2, B-flat concert, quarter notes. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, if you want an added challenge with your scale, if you're feeling like this is stuff that you already do, then you can change it up by practicing more articulation, to be practicing how we say ta or da. So let's practice this in eighth notes saying ta. So we're going to go ta, 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 ta. So our tempo is ta, 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 ta. And the idea is, as you're saying ta, you're still moving your air so that the tongue is kind of just riding on top of the air. Let's try it. B-flat concert. Ta, 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 ta. Ready, go. So, did every single one of those notes sound exactly the same? Did it all sound like ta when you did it? If you had a note that didn't sound quite right, where every single note doesn't quite sound exactly the same, then we keep practicing it till we get that. Now, let's practice what's called legato tonguing. We're going to do the same thing, but you're going to say da. Da is a softer syllable than ta, so it makes this sound. It's more of a liquid sound, smoother sound. So let's try our scale again, doing da. 1, 2, ready. So if you practice these different ways of articulating, you'll be able to play different styles of music in a better way than you had before. You'll be more artistic and be able to play different types of music and sound like you're a professional faster. Okay. Now, as an added challenge, we're going to also do the E-flat concert scale. Now, the E-flat concert scale takes us up a little higher. So if you're not ready for that, you can continue doing B-flat, or when you do the E-flat concert scale, when you get to the notes that might be too high for where you are, play them down the octave. So like C, D, E, F, down the octave. Okay, let's practice this slurred. As remember, as we go higher, keep those cornas firm and blow fast air. Okay, here we go. We're doing E-flat concert now. 1, 2, ready? I'm sorry. We're doing it in half notes. 1, 2, ready? Now, let's do it in ta quarter notes. Ta, ta, ready. And now, let's just practice another type of articulation. We're going to play the dotted 8th 16th rhythm, which is the same rhythm you hear at the beginning of Happy Birthday, beginning of the Star Spangled Banner. It's long, short. So, let me demonstrate. Okay, let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, ready. Now, we could also practice our E-flat concert scale in the other legato style that we were doing before, or try different rhythms. Okay, if you're used to doing these keys and you do other keys, do the same things that we were talking about. Do slurs, do quarter note ta, do da and ta articulation. Try it in triplets, try it in 16th notes, try it in different rhythms, because if you practice your scale and also practice your articulation, you're doing two things at once and getting better at two things at once. Okay, now we're going to look at our chromatic scale. Now the chromatic scale is really important because we need this to be able to move around the instrument quickly and be able to play all around the instrument from low to high without it sounding like we're changing anything. So if we get really good at chromatic scale, we can play very smoothly. So I have a chromatic scale. Some of you may know how to play it. I put a couple fingerings in for some of the notes that might be less familiar. We're going to play it slurred from low to high. This is another scale that you should be practicing every time you play your trumpet. Okay? So I'll play it once. If you've been doing that scale and that scale seems pretty easy, then extend it. Go higher. See how high you can go. If you don't know how to play your chromatic scale any higher than that, you can always look up a fingering chart online. Just Google trumpet fingering chart, and that will, you can just look at that and follow all the different fingerings and just see how high you can go. It's a really good idea when you practice your chromatic scale to see how high you can go one day. So if you say you kind of stop out on the note F or something, you can't get any higher easily, make a note of it, and then the next day, see if you can go higher. And then eventually, if you keep practicing your chromatic scale, doing these exercises, taking a good breath, and blowing faster air and keeping firm corners as you go up, you'll be able to play those higher notes eventually, and then suddenly F won't be the top note. F sharp will be your top note. And then after a couple of days, you'll get up to G. So it's a gradual thing. We learn in steps. Okay. Now the last thing I wanted to do, talk about something that you should be practicing is to help your ability to move around the instrument, are some bugles or partials. These are the harmonic series of the trumpet, the different notes that you can play with a single fingering. So we're going to focus first on these first three notes. We're going to play it tongued first. So I'll play it first in half notes. So just the notes that are outside of these parentheses. So the idea is to get control of moving your air faster and having control of firm corners as you go up and down to hear those pitches. It's all open, no fingers. Okay, so let's try that. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, now for an added challenge, you can slur that. So we have to keep our air blowing through each note so that we keep our air almost so that we blow into the G. And then we keep our air and we keep blowing so that we blow into the C. So we kind of blow our air forward. It's almost like a diving board. When we're on the edge of the diving board and you jump on it, the diving board goes down and then you spring off. So the low C is Da, G. So blow through the low note to get the higher note. Okay, let's try that. Slurred. 1, 2, ready. Now, if you wanted the added challenge, if that's easy for you, then add the note E. So you go up to E, and then go back down. You can practice that tongued or slurred as well. And then, if that's easy, go up to G. So go up to G, and then back down. And if you want to expand your range even further, you can go for the high C. Remember, high notes, we just think faster air, hear that pitch in our mind, keep firm corners, and we'll get it. Now, if you haven't tried it before, you're going to, if you can't play E or G yet, you're not going to be able to play that high C right away. It's going to take time. We learn our range in steps. But if you're working your way up to G, then it's time to start seeing if you can get C. So try to keep that air moving nice and fast as you go up. You can also practice it tonguing at first, because tonguing will be easier at first. Okay, so after you do that, you can do that in the different valve combinations I have here. So you can do it second, first, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, or 1, 2 and 3. Okay? So all these work on those same partials. So I could do this whole thing open, like I did. I could do it second valve. Okay, and then I can do the whole thing first valve. Okay, so I can do all the different valve combinations that I have here. And if I do that, I'm going to start to get better control of playing on the instrument, moving around the instrument, getting a good sound, playing the right note, having the note in my ear. So, practice your breathing. Make sure you're taking a good breath. Practice your buzzing, making sure you're buzzing the note you actually want to come out. Practice your warm-ups so that you're moving your ear in a good way to make a good sound. Practice your scales so you know how to play these patterns and play them with different articulations. And then practice your bugles, your harmonics, so that you can move from low to high on the instrument very easily. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope I had some helpful information for you. Once again, my name is Matt Shefcik, and I teach trumpet for the Miami Music Project, and it was a pleasure working with you today. Take care.